Hello and welcome to my office. As you can see, it needs a bit of work, but anyway, basically, I was thinking about there's been a little story in the news today about MH370. That's the missing Malaysian airliner that's vanished over the sea about 2 years ago now, I think it is. Now, the story in the paper today is apparently one of the lead investigators into the actual disappearance of the aircraft, who is allegedly going to pass on bits of evidence that have washed up off the coast of Africa somewhere, and he's actually been murdered, or assassinated as they like to say in the paper. And the story goes it's all a big conspiracy theory, and that's to stop him telling who's destroyed MH370 or who's captured it or whatever the story is. Now, unless you've been on Mars recently, you'd have probably seen some of the stories that have been doing the rounds. There's one theory is that it was captured by the Americans and flown to Diego, what's it called? Diego Mountain? Oh, flipping heck, I can't even name the place now. Diego Garcia, is it? Which is an American airport out in the ocean there somewhere, American base. There's another theory that it was deliberately crashed by one of the crew, possibly the pilot or the co-pilot. Although obviously, there's no evidence for any of these sort of stories. There's yet another theory is that there's some kind of problem with the air conditioning, and that the passengers and crew have become unconscious with lack of oxygen at high altitude, and the plane has just flown on until they've run out of fuel. That's again a possibility. There's also stories of there being unknown passengers on board and soldiers on board, and a group of people with top secret information on board. There's all sorts of theories. What is the most likely scenario? Well, the running out of oxygen or having a problem with the pressurization system, that has happened before. It's not an unknown cause of accidents. It happened with the Helios flight some years ago, and the entire plane and its crew flew on until it ran out of fuel, and then it crashed into the sea, killing everybody on board, obviously. And there's been a number of incidents with, I think they're Learjets, which are the little executive jets, that have suffered a similar problem. One flew across, I think it was Britain or England somewhere, well, a good few years back now, chased by the RAF, who were planning to shoot it down if it looked like it was going to hit anything important. As it happens, it flew out over the sea and crashed it, which they think was caused by the same thing, with a pressurization problem on board. Death by pilot or co-pilot? Yeah, again, it certainly has happened before. There's at least 2 known cases of it happening where one of the crew members has decided to commit suicide and take all his passengers with him. And these days you certainly can't rule out some sort of hijacking attempt. The various authorities have gone through all the passenger lists and everything, and they reckon that there were no known terrorists on board, or no obvious groups of suspicious characters or anything. But who knows? Who knows who's actually on that plane, or what motives? It could have been just one ordinary passenger with a grudge, or somebody who wanted to end it all, or anything could happen really these days. So why can't they find it? Well, personally, I think they're looking in the wrong place. Yes, I know. I obviously know more than everybody else, yes. But what they seem to have done is they seem to have concentrated on an area which was basically based on the last radar fix. But they seem to have ignored eyewitness statements from a number of people who saw a plane flying low over an island, which matched the time and the description roughly of the missing aircraft. And there was also a crash picked up not too far from that island by, I think it was Leicester University, who had a seismic sensor. They picked up an impact in the sea. But they haven't followed that sort of story up at all. They don't seem to have, they certainly haven't checked with any of the witnesses, because that's actually come out recently that the witnesses still haven't been interviewed. So you do sort of wonder, I do sort of get the impression that somebody somewhere doesn't want this aircraft found for whatever reason. So was there something that, shouldn't be allowed out on board? Was there some deadly toxin on board it? Was it alien life on board it? Or was it just a plane crash? Your guess is as good as mine. Sorry about the funny voice, and probably the sniffs. I've got a cold, so it's as good as it gets. Thanks for watching.